Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name's Rebecca, I'm 44 years old and I used to suffer from multiple sclerosis, but I no longer experience any of the symptoms since starting the carnivore diet nearly 2 years ago. So in yesterday's video, I raised the possibility that I might be suffering from gout and that this might be connected to my carnivore diet. And I asked for you guys to contribute your suggestions and your insights into this possibility, and I've been so amazed by your amazing comments and helpful advice, and I've read every single one. I haven't actually replied to any yet because what I did after I filmed that video and uploaded it, I actually went straight back to the hospital because the pain had become absolutely unbearable and my foot was looking absolutely awful. So I will show you guys some photos of my foot. I'll show you my other foot for comparison and how my foot was looking yesterday. And you know, it had got to the point where I could not continue with my foot like this. It was excruciating, and it was a mystery what had caused it. So yeah, there's really not much else I could do. I had to go back to the hospital, and they gave me another x-ray and they still couldn't find a fracture, but they were telling me, look, this doesn't look like gout. Also, I rang my dad, who's a retired GP, and he as well, they were saying that gout would be red and inflamed, but this is kind of blue-grey and cold to the touch. You know, this looks more like a fracture. So I had another x-ray, but they couldn't see anything. But what they've done is they've put it in a cast. Got it in a cast. And I'm going to have an MRI scan to look at it in more detail. And they've given me a different type of anti-inflammatory that I suppose must be stronger because it's helped. I took it this morning and the pain is greatly reduced, so that's good. Maybe I won't need to continue to take cocodamol on top of that. If I can just stick to anti-inflammatories, that's what I'll do. And they've also given me these syringes. I have to inject these into my belly once a day. They explained to me that that's supposed to stop any blood clots in the cast. So I am not looking forward to this. This brings back memories of being on Copaxone, which was one of my traumas when I was really ill with MS. I had to inject myself every day with something that basically felt like acid in my body, and it was so painful and has left me with scarring. And anyway, but everybody's assured me this is not in the same league as that stuff. It's not going to be painful, and it's yeah, anyway, I'm obviously no one wants to inject themselves every day, so that sucks. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know how I'm going to get through the next month with a cast on my foot. It's at least the pain is reduced and it feels more stable. If I can put my foot on the ground and it doesn't hurt so much and I can hobble along. I've got crutches, but the thing about crutches is you can't carry things, so like I have to find a way to walk on my foot. Maybe I'll get my wheelchair, maybe I'll dig it out of my storage, get my wheelchair. I don't know. Anyway, I need to figure out my life right now. I need to figure out how this is going to work, and I'm sure it will be okay. I'm sure that people will come. People have been so nice. So the most likely scenario, the working hypothesis, is that it's a metatarsal stress fracture that just isn't being picked up on x-rays. What's weird is I have no idea how I could have possibly fractured my foot. I don't know how. I don't have any memory of bashing into anything or dropping anything on my foot. It started about a month ago now. We're getting on for a month. The pain started, but it was very light at the beginning until I got to the point where I was limping. And then I was actually giving an English class online, and my English student, who's down in Madrid, who happens to also be called Rebecca, hi if you're watching, and you better be watching because it's good practice for your English. We did the first half of the class talking about her day at work, and then halfway through the class she was like, so how was your day? And I said, oh, well, I think I might have broken my foot. And she said, Rebecca, let's end the class right now and you go to hospital please and get it checked out. So that, bless her. So that's what I did. I called a friend, my friend Valentina, who's Argentinian and lives just a couple of minutes away from me, was available. So she came and she picked me up and took me to hospital. And that's when they gave me the first x-ray, which they found no fracture. So that was when I was completely confused, thinking, well, is it an inflamed ligament? Is it gout. But yeah, I'm relieved to find that it's not gout, because I didn't want it to be connected to my diet, obviously. I had to be honest with myself and be open to that possibility. What I've learned from your comments is that actually the carnivore diet cures gout, because it's sugar and alcohol that provokes gout flare-ups. So it's not as simple as a high purine diet leads to gout. Those purines, I guess, gout's to do with uric acid in your blood, and everything's so complex in a body, isn't it? The way that the systems work together, and certain things offset other things and other things trigger other things, is very, very complex. I don't have a grip on any of it, really. So I've learned from all your comments that it's not actually, that the risk of gout with carnivore is actually lower. So that's just a good thing to learn, and I wanted to put out there as quickly as possible, just to clear up any possible confusion about the fact that carnivore has given me gout, because I don't have gout. I have a fracture, most likely. The other thing they're checking me for is an infection. They did do a blood test on me to see if somehow I might have picked up an infection. But as my dad said, that's probably less likely, because I'm not feverish and it's like not really spreading. Like, it's spread up my leg, but that's because I've been forced to walk on like the side of my foot, and that's what's made my ankle get really bad. But and that's why I think they put me in the cast. It's so weird, because I was literally just going about my daily life and now I'm in a cast. What? I don't, like, how weird. Like, I don't have any memory of hitting any bone in my body in any way. And here I am, unable to use my foot. So I'm a bit concerned. Like, some people in the comments were like, don't worry, but the reason I am worried, apart from the fact that it was becoming excruciatingly painful, is the fact that I have animals to look after, and I live alone, and I need to be able to drive. And so that's my biggest concern at the moment. I'm going to spend today figuring out how I'm going to manage the next month or so, while I'm unable to drive, and I can't even go up to the chicken coop to let them out if I'm in a cast. Yeah, so I need help, and I do have a lovely, supportive community around me here. That was one of the reasons I moved back to Asturias, to be nearer my friends. And I have a lovely neighbour who I'm going to ask if he wouldn't mind dealing with the chickens. And yeah, so the best thing would be to have some live-in help for the next couple of weeks. I do have a workaway coming in 2 weeks' time, a Scottish guy, but that's not for 2 weeks. So how am I going to manage the next 2 weeks? I don't know. But anyway, thank you for your well wishes, and thank you for your contributions to the discussion. I've learnt an awful lot about gout through this little episode, and I'm very relieved that I don't have it. It is good news, I think, that it's a fracture, and that means I don't need to change my diet. I can continue on the carnivore diet, happy that it is not doing me any harm that I know of, and just try and figure out this little bump in the road. Okay, so that was my quick update. It's not gout. That's the good news. The bad news is, damn it, I'm in a cast. All right, so I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.